Hi, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Automated Advantage. On today's call, we have Ricardo Scarpari, who's the co founder of Veto, talking about his business, talking about some general business tactics and what got them started. Hope you enjoy this. Look forward to sharing this with you all. So, hi, Ricardo. Thanks for joining us today. Can you introduce yourself and a little bit about your business?
Hey, thanks for having me here, Greg. My name is Ricardo. I'm the co-founder of Veto. Veto provides high-quality data for the top AI labs and companies in the world, and we help all the models get better, essentially. And we bridge the labs with the real-world applications and real-world demand from the professionals, managing to map out all the demands that people have, professionals have on their end and trying to get this knowledge into the AI models, the LLMs, and stuff like that.
Interesting. So obviously, and I noticed you and I had a conversation a couple of days ago, but you've been in business for, I think you said about 3 years. And so like early adopters of AI. And so like what gap did you see? I understand the business and what you do, but what gap did you see in the market? And you say, hey, other people are not doing this. We need to go and grab
Yeah,
this.
actually, we pivoted from our beginning idea. We had our first idea 3 years ago when we were in college, and we had the idea of having a marketplace for interns and entry level opportunities for job posting and we grew a lot. We started in Brazil and we grew a lot. We managed to get in the next 2.5 years to over 1.5 million people using our platform. And then we saw a great demand for for masters, PhDs, professors from labs and data partners. And we didn't know a lot about the market. We just knew about how to hire people and how to get people, high quality people from specific domains, because that's what we were used to do to the top companies in Brazil. And we saw all that demand and we try to understand a little bit better, try to piece the pieces out. And we saw the great gap that there was of having the right people, the right person to provide the best quality data for your LLM, for example, for basically what you need your AI to be better at. And we had already all the professionals, so all the PhDs, the masters from what we were doing previously, and it was I would not say it was easy, but it was easier than starting from zero. And we managed to get into the market and understand a little bit more and trying to be closer to the labs as close as possible and being more technical from the research side of the business. And it was like small steps that we were doing and small problems that we were facing, and we managed to overcome them little by little, bit by bit. So yeah, we've been in this market for, I would say, 7 months right now that we were operating with the AI labs, and with this being a data partner and a research partner, bridging the talents here that we have on our database to the applications that the labs want and the applications that they need that they don't even know that they want those applications, they don't even know that they want this sort of data, so we help them with that.
Okay. And so having said that and kind of taking it to the next level, so if you had to pick like your ideal quote unquote target, ideal customer, what do they look like?
Currently, the biggest part, most of our customers are AI labs, the top AI labs in the world, and we help them with specific tasks, specific demands. So they want to have their models to be better at, like, making a projection, a forecast, for example, in Excel for finance for a certain application with that. So we have the right people, we select, we source the right people to be able to provide this sort of data for them. So um, those labs, though, they have like a lot of demand on their side because their car product is essentially the LLMs, the AI, and yeah, so I would say that currently the top labs are ICPs, but I think that this year, 2026, might be the year that we'll see a lot of demand from the enterprise side. So other companies that have uh, AI products or workflows with AI that need to evaluate them or need to get data to better train those AI, post-train their application, probably will surge a lot uh, this year.
Okay, now that's interesting. And so, and then how are you currently attracting those customers? What's your strategy? What's your approach? Do you have a sales team, a marketing team? How does that play in?
Yeah, it's basically really founders led sales here currently because we want to get as close as possible to the researchers and try to understand a lot of what is the trend right now, what is the next gonna be the next trend, and what are their demands. But there's like a mini hack that can be applied, that is, the researchers want to make their models get better. So we just need to map out, just discover what their models are not doing great currently. And we try to have these approaches to map out all the gaps that the models have and try to provide this sort of data, try to generate data from that end to show to the researchers and just like, oh, okay, here it is. Your models are performing like have a pass rate of 60% and your competitors have 75% of this application that is really used in finance, for example, or in medical, that people really use, and you're given wrong answers, and these wrong answers are making your competitors gain more traction than you on that side from the market and stuff like that. So we can engage with them, helping them out to make their models better. So sometimes they don't even know what their models lack, so we can provide this overview, this visualization,
That okay. Interestingly enough, and so then you said, so I'm assuming your growth strategy is continuing that path, but you said the enterprise. So have you given it some thought on what's the strategy for that to kind of reach out and grow that side of the business?
Yeah, enterprise is something that we're studying a lot because, like I said, probably this year is going to be a great year for. It's going to be the start of the need for the demand for data from the enterprise side, because enterprise in general, they don't usually apply a lot of AI still, but they will, because of mainly two reasons. The first one is that the models are not that great. For example, you can have like you will lose GPT, for example, on your company for a workflow. So GPT on a certain workflow that you have will have a pass rate of 30%. So it's not that great. So you need time, for example, to fine tune it. And you still will reach, I don't know, maybe 55%. It's not that great for a lot of companies. It's not great enough for the applications, for most part of the applications. But it's something that all the labs have. They are just like on a big, they're running against each other to see who will get to the enterprise first, the enterprise market first. So they're really focused on that. So it's going to improve this year. And okay, you can have like 55% and it's good enough, great enough for you to apply on your company. But like I said, the labs are making models better, faster. And so you will train, you will spend time, money, and compute power and stuff like that is really expensive to get the model from the raw model. GPT, for example, GPT 5.2, you will get 30%, and now it's post trained and it's like 55%. And then GPT 5.3 will launch, and it's now doing like 50%, and you're just 5% better, and just like, okay, but now if I get the GPT 5.3 and fine tune it and post train it, maybe I can get to 70%. So there's this opportunity cost of not doing that, and you'll be like locked on a continuous loop, that the models will get better and you will need to refine it again and do everything again and again. It's like a cycle that you can't break it. So it's gonna be it's gonna get to a point where the models are, for example, 70% of pass rate on a certain application, and then you're like, okay, now 70% again get to 90% with the post training, and that's good enough for me. And okay, it's now 75% raw, but I'm good with the 90%, and I can go from there on because it's good enough. So
Yeah.
yeah, for the enterprise, we're still helping them out. There's a lot of uh, they don't know much yet about post training LLMs and stuff like that, because there's not an active demand on most part of the business that we've talked to. But the demand will come. They are already trying to implement, but like MVPs, stuff like that, small stuff. But for the post training part, that is where we can help to evaluate and to provide the high quality data for them to post train their models and get their pass rates up. Then it's going to be like, I don't know, probably another 6 months until we see a surge. We'd be able to see a major growth on that side.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, and you can validate that I'm accurate here or not, but it's a lot of what I'm seeing is companies, quote unquote, implementing AI and thinking again that ChatGPT helping write an article, whatever it is AI. And I think what you're saying is, yes, that's the beginning stages of it, but you want to get more accurate. If you want it to be effective in your business, you need what you guys do to be able to get much closer to a maybe not the right answer, but to a way better answer.
Yes, exactly. And it's just like people, I think, that are really close on thinking that the AI is going to only be able to provide Q&A tasks like questions and answers, or just text stuff. But essentially all the labs are now running to get their models to be agentic, to be able to operate in all sort of platforms, to be able to complete a task. So you will ask them to, you will buy, for example, you buy, uh, you will make a trip for Europe, and your travel you're going to pay with one of the models. For example, you're not able to do that currently. Or for example, you have to on the finance side, you need to forecast something, and you have all the statements, and you need to assume a lot of stuff, and you will just provide that all the information possible for an AI, and everything will be given to you. So the PowerPoint, the Excel, and all stuff, all the stuff that you would do and spend like months doing, it's going to be there in a couple of minutes, you know. So I think that people are really limited on thinking that AI is just are just the wrappers that people usually are doing currently with GPT and all these applications, but it goes way beyond that.
Yeah, no, so interestingly enough, so kind of switching a little bit to you guys, and then you and I had this conversation the other day, but being younger and starting to do this. So now let's just talk about the business and some of the things that you've seen, but maybe a couple of questions. I'll ask first one. So like what keeps you busy every day? Like if you said, okay, my 80% of my time is spent on this as a co-founder.
Yes, most of my time today I'm spending trying to understand a little bit better how we can improve our customers' models. So trying to see what they lack and what's the next step, and where the market is going with, and how I can source people, and how I can understand a little bit better of each domain. So because it's like uh, it's a pretty volatile market that we're operating, that we're navigating through right now. You have, like, for a couple of weeks ago, our RLHF, that is reinforcement learning from human feedback, was like your go-to task that we were doing. And now there's a lot of stuff with RLVR, reinforcement learning from verifiable rewards, and more technical stuff there that is published on a paper, and you need to be updated every time, every day, to be able to provide the best approach possible to generate a certain data. So most of my day I'll be studying and trying to understand the perspectives, and where should we try to engage, where should we approach, which market, which domain, which tasks should we try, and get in touch with the labs and the researchers, and trying to understand what is going on in their minds, and what they're thinking about certain paper that was published, or what they're probably prioritizing right now. Because, for example, you have a lot of gaps in the models currently, but you need to see what they're going to prioritize, right? So I try my best to understand what's the best approach to get those projects and to make the models better.
So having said that, and now, kind of looking at the business and looking at the operations and all of that stuff, now you're you're heavily engaged in your businesses in AI. What are you guys doing from a day-to-day perspective to run, manage, drive your business? How much of AI are you leaning on?
Yeah, we use a lot of AI. We all our employees, everyone from our team is currently using AI or implementing their own workflow, for example, to automate a certain task, because it's right now way easier. For example, we had our COO that didn't know much of technology, but he really likes to build stuff and try to think about stuff. And he started to know how to code, interacting with Cursor and Claude. And he managed to get a lot of stuff on our platform and automate a lot of uh, workflows that they were like pain points, big pain points on our operation. And it's really strange to look back 1 year ago and see the difference. Like, oh, this spreadsheet here and all this workflow that we used to do manually, and have like one day that we would be so sad because it's gonna at the end of the month, for example, we knew that a certain workflow would need to be done. And we're like, yeah, it's coming. That time of the month is coming. We'll need to do this task. It's like the entire day you need to do a certain stuff. And now it's automated, completely automated, with someone that didn't know anything about technology, didn't know how to code, and didn't know how to automate a workflow or anything else. And he only understood a lot of the operation, and he only knew about what he wanted to be done. And yeah, that was, you don't have this barrier anymore, you don't have this obstacle anymore of knowing how to code and learning and knowing how to implement something. So it's been really great to see all our team using AI actively, and using, for example, N8N. It's something that the team uses a lot. And code of Cursor, for example, is something that they use too. And it's fun to see everything that people are building here.
Oh, that's good to know. I mean, that's if again, if you're going to be pushing the AI message, then it makes sense for you to be leveraging it. So from a like now, just kind of getting into the business world and things like that. And again, you said you were in college a couple of years ago. I'm clearly at the other side of my career spectrum, but maybe just advice to people that say, "Hey, I've got an idea. I got to start business." Like, what would you tell people? Like, look, I'm self-employed, and this is, I'm assuming this is your first job since you said you started in college. What would your advice be to people who are in a situation like you?
Well, uh, I would say that it's funny to say because I graduated 2 years ago, but still, I think that uh, everything that is happening happens so quickly that 2 3 years ago it's like it seems like a decade ago or even more. But one thing that I had when I was in college was the ambition to build something big to help others, and I wanted to not really become an entrepreneur, but I want to build something, not for anything else, status or anything like that, because in Brazil there's none of that, but really to build something and help the others. And I didn't know a lot, much about tech. I knew how to code one thing or another, but not to really build something coding. And when I tried, it was like always needed help, and or it was really expensive. So I tried to hire someone, but I didn't have any money because I was a university student. I had zero money. I couldn't hire someone, and I was trying on my own, but things failed, and I needed to learn, etc., etc. Now it's just like you don't need that. You don't need a lot of that knowledge. You can have an MVP. You don't need to build a perfect solution, a perfect application platform or stuff like that. You just need to have a specific knowledge, or you implement something that you see as a pain point on the market and that you really like, really appreciate. So, and you can build stuff with Cursor, with Lovable, have this MVP running and testing. And it's funny because right now the MVP that I always heard of how to build an MVP with a low code solution and how to evaluate them, like all these evaluations, they just don't seem we just don't see a lot because it's so easy right now to iterate with the MVP that you can, if that's not working, you can just in 10 minutes make it better, correct something that you saw that was not working in the first interaction with the customer, a potential customer, etc. So you can do it for like $1, or it's not a lot of money. So you can try, and it's basically risk free to have an enormous upside, And I would really recommend. I recommend for all my friends and people that I mentor to really try to push and build something and try to interact with the platforms and the tools to be able to engage with this other world that is being an entrepreneur, that is having a company, a product that you deeply love, and a solution, a problem to that you want to correct, that you want to interact with. So I would really recommend everyone to just try, just try to solve something.
And I think that's a great way to end this thing. I think that's what I'm getting from people, right? It's in the old day, in the old days. In a while ago, you used to, take a year, 2 years as startup to get a product ready and out of the door. Now, to your point, you can get it on in the market in a much shorter space of time. You can test it, and I think the key to it all is again is what you said too is go look for that problem that you're solving, and don't come out with a, hey, I've got this great idea but nobody's interested. Like, look for these holes in the market and say, okay, let me go see if I can solve that problem. So I think it's great advice for people.
Yeah, and you can do everything quick, so too quickly. So you basically can interact with a lot of customers and go, and you can edit a lot of your projects and try to see what is doing good, what is not doing great, and you can go from demo. Because I think that people are often locked within a perfect idea. They want to. see and build something that is perfect. And that was a problem in the old days. I would say. And right now it's just you can do everything else really quickly, and it's easier to jailbreak this perfectionist problem, and yeah, and it's cheap, so you basically have no barriers. I deeply believe that we'll see a surge too, and micro entrepreneurs, people
Hmm.
working for themselves instead of working for other companies. I think that it's a dynamic that is going to happen a lot in the future, probably in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And so we're at the time now, but there was a really, really interesting conversation. I truly appreciate your time. And I'm going to thank you and just like finish out and say again, thank you so much for being with me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time, Greg. And it was really nice to share a little bit more about my thoughts here and about Veto.
Sounds great.